Part 2. The most important thing you can do with an emotion is to allow it in, to feel all aspects of it while not losing your consciousness. Such a type of consciousness is healing. What happens in this instance is that you embrace the emotion, which is essentially a form of misunderstanding, with understanding. This is a spiritual alchemy. Let me explain with the help of an example. Emotional guidance at this moment means that the parents first help the child name her experience. And yes, I understand your emotion. The parents embrace the emotion of the child with understanding, with love. The child reads compassion and understand in your eyes. And this relaxes and soothes your emotions. At the table, the cause of the emotions is not prevalent anymore. In embracing an emotion with understanding and compassion, you shift the focus of the child's attention from outside to inside. And you teach the child to take responsibility for an emotion. You are showing her that her reaction to an outside trigger is not a given, but that it is a matter of a choice. You can choose misunderstanding or understanding. You can choose. This also applies to the relationship with your own emotions. Your own inner child, allowing your emotions in, naming them, and making an effort to understand them, means that you truly respect and cherish your inner child. What you do when you focus not on the circumstances outside of you, but instead on your reaction and your pain, is that you dismiss the outside world as the cause of your emotions. You do not care that much about what gave rise to the emotion. You completely turn inward and you say to yourself, okay, this has been my reaction and I understand why. I understand why I feel the way that I do, and I am going to support myself in this. Turning toward your emotions in such a loving manner is liberating. It does require a kind of self-discipline. I now experience this emotion in the full awareness that I choose to do so. That is taking responsibility. That is courage. This is the self-discipline that is asked of you. At the same time, this kind of turning inward requires the highest compassion. The emotion that you are honestly prepared to face as your own creation is also looked upon with gentle understanding. Perhaps when you feel my love and support, more clearly you will not feel inclined to that response next time. This is the true color of consciousness and self-healing. This is what spiritual alchemy means. Consciousness does not fight or reject anything. It encircles darkness with awareness. It encircles the energies of misunderstanding with understanding, and thus transforms ordinary metal into gold. Consciousness and love are effectively the same. Being conscious means letting something be and surrounding it with your love and compassion. Often, you think that consciousness alone is not enough to overcome your emotional problems. You say, I know I have repressed emotions. I know the cause of it. I am aware, but it does not go away. You keep the emotion at a distance from fear of being overwhelmed by it. But you are never overwhelmed by an emotion when you consciously choose to allow it. As long as you keep the emotion at a distance, you are at war with it. You are fighting the emotion, and it will turn against you in several ways. You cannot keep it outside in the end. Feeling down or weary frequently is a clear sign that you are repressing certain emotions. The thing is that you need to allow the emotions to fully enter your consciousness. If you do not know exactly what emotions are there, you can very well start by healing the tension in your body. This is a gateway to the emotions. In your body, it is all stored. For instance, if you feel pain or tension in the area of your stomach, you can go there with your awareness and ask, what is the matter? Let the cell of your body speak to you, or imagine that right there a child is present. Ask the child to show you what emotion is predominant in him or her. There are several ways to connect with your emotions. It is vital to realize that the energy got stuck and the emotion wants to move. This energy wants to be released, and therefore it knocks at your door as a physical complaint or as a feeling of stress or depression. For you, it is a matter of really opening up and being prepared to feel the emotion. Emotions are parts of your earthly reality, but they should not get a hold over you. Emotions are like clouds for the sun. Therefore, it is so important to be aware of your emotions and to deal with consciously. From a clear and balanced emotional body, it is much easier to contact your soul or inner core through your intuition. In your society, there is much confusion about emotions. This is evident, among other things, from the amount of debate and confusion there is about how to raise your children. Children clearly are much more emotionally spontaneous than you are as adults. This creates difficulties. What if some of your moral boundaries are crossed? Does one have to discipline children or let them express themselves freely? Do their emotions have to be controlled or not? What is important in child's upbringing is that they learn to understand their emotions, to understand where they come from, and to take responsibility from them. This understanding prevents your child from drowning in their emotions and going out of control. Understanding liberates and brings you back to your own center without repressing the emotions. The parents teaches their child to deal with emotions in this way by being the living example of it. All the questions you have about dealing with your children also apply to yourself. How do you cope with your own emotions? Are you hard on yourself? When you feel angry or sad for some time, do you discipline yourself by saying, "Come on, get yourself together and move on"? Do you suppress the emotion? Do you feel that disciplining yourself is good and necessary? Who taught you this? Was it a parent? Or do you go to the other side? Do you wallow in your emotion, not to wanting to let go of it? This is also frequently the case. You may have felt for a long time that you were a victim of some situation outside of you. For example, your upbringing, your partner, or your work environment. However, you may get so enamored with your anger that you do not want to give it up anymore. Instead of becoming a doorway, it becomes a way of living. It holds you back from truly standing in your own power. It is very important to take responsibility for your own emotions and not to make absolute truths of them. When you can give them the status of truths, instead of looking upon them as explosions of misunderstanding, you will base your actions on them, and that will lead to uncensored decisions. The same happens with children who are allowed too much emotional freedom. In short, you can either be too strict or too lenient in dealing with your emotions. And by analogy with your children, I want to go a little more into the lenient way, for that seems to be more of an issue nowadays. But what about the other extreme? What about justifying emotions in such a way that they take over and rule your life? You can very well observe inside you whether there are emotions that you cherish in such a way that you regard them as truth instead of what they really are, explosions of misunderstanding. These are emotions you have identified with. It may give you a sense of safety. It releases you from certain obligations or responsibilities. I can't help it, can I? It is a dark corner you're sitting in, but it seems a safe one. This may have happened in your youth, later on, or even in past lives. But at a certain point, you need to take responsibility for your emotions, for they constitute your reactions to an outside event. Being centered, being in a state of clarity and spiritual balance means that you take full responsibility for all the emotions that are in you. I surround this reaction with understanding, but at the same time, I intend to release it. Life is ultimately not about being right. It is about being free and whole. It is very liberating to release old emotional responses that have grown into lifestyle. One might say that it is all about the subtle middle road between suppressing emotions and drowning in them. On both sides, you have been raised with opinions and ideals that are not in accordance with the nature of spiritual alchemy. The essence of spiritual growth is that you do not suppress anything, but at the same time, you take full responsibility for it. I feel this. I choose this reaction so I can heal it. Claiming your mastership, this is what my message is about truly. Perhaps it is not really a middle road, but a different road. It is all about a spiritual mastership. In accepting all there is within you, you rise above it and become its master. Mastership is both strong and gentle. It is very loving, and yet it takes great discipline. The discipline of courage and honesty. Get in touch with them. Take responsibility. No one else can restore the power over your own emotions for you. There are no external instruments or means to take away those emotions. It is in becoming aware of them with strength, determination, and compassion that they are released into the light. Becoming whole and free on the emotional level is one of the most important aspects of growing spiritually. I want to finish by saying, do not make it more difficult than it is. The spiritual path is a simple path. It is about love for yourself and inner clarity. It does not require any specific knowledge or any specific rituals, rules, or methods. All things you need for your spiritual growth are within you. At a quiet moment, go to the feeling side of you. Let this feeling side of you tell you what needs to be clarified and cleansed within you. Trust your intuition. Work on it. Believe in yourself. You are the master of your life, the master of your unique path, and to love and freedom. Channel Pamela Kribe.